Hi, it's Deborah Atkinson, and we are flipping 50 today. I have one exercise, and I'm going to show you how to make that match three different goals. So let's say, number one, our first goal we're going to tackle is weight loss. That's really what you want, and here's what I want for you is not so much weight loss as I want fat loss. So we really want to look at what do we do, how do we lift weights to get the most fat loss. Now, weight training or resistance training by itself, it's not a huge calorie burner. So if you were going to weight train for 30 minutes versus go for a walk or run for 30 minutes, the cardio exercise would burn more calories during that half hour. But if we're talking about the hours after you're done exercising, the days after, and if you repeat that on a regular basis every week, you do strength training 2 or 3 times a week, the overall caloric and energy expenditure is far greater, and you increase your lean muscle mass, which increases your resting metabolism. We're not just talking about that you burn during exercise, but the biggest benefit of any kind of exercise you're going to do is, there's so many, but in terms of weight management, it's how much does it help you boost your metabolism so that sitting at rest, like we all must do some extent of our time, burns more calories for you. And it still leaves you feeling good. When you have a higher metabolism, you just think faster, you digest better, you sleep better. Everything is better. So we're going to talk about what's the protocol for weight loss. Then I'm going to show you the same exercise if I were using a protocol for something like bone density. So women are more concerned about that. Number one, we're more likely to get it because we're lighter. Our bones are not as dense as males. And I said bones, right? Not anything else. And we live longer. So as we start to lose our bone density after about age 35, it just starts coming off. We're going to live to 100 potentially, right? So we've got to do something to hold on to those bone stores. After 50, we're not going to put a lot back in the bank. We're already starting to withdraw, but we can close the account. We can hold on to what we've got. So the second thing I'll show you is what it looks like if you're going to change and what weight you'll use for bone density. Last, I'm going to show you what if it's really posture, and that's really your goal. Your body composition is right where you want it to be. Your bone density, as far as you know it, is also good, right where you need that to be. But your posture is starting to look more like this than you'd like it to. And when you catch yourself in the mirror walking past, you don't like the reflection. We're going to take a look right now at, for weight maintenance or weight loss, primarily fat loss, for bone density and posture, what the difference is with a bent over row. That's the exercise that I'm going to show you. Here it goes. Okay, so for strength training and weight loss, what we want is a weight where we fatigue in 10 or fewer repetitions. Now, you may have to work your way up to that heavy enough weight where that's the truth. So you don't start with a super heavy weight if you're just a beginner. Make sure you have that in mind. You've still got to progress. But the highest weight you can safely do is what will help you burn more calories during and after. For energy expenditure, it's crucial. So I'm going to take a weight here that I can only lift about 10 times with really good form. When I start to get tired of my third set, I may have only 8 left in there, but I'm going to show you just one set of this. So for example, I've got a 30-pound weight. My weight's on my heels, my core is tight, and I'm going to pull up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to go to the other side just so you can see it close to the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I would rest. If I truly wanted weight training, I would either rest this muscle group and go on to do something else, maybe a leg exercise, or a chest exercise or a core exercise before I came back to give myself adequate rest between. Now, second set, we're going to talk bone density. At one point, research used to tell us the same thing was true. Lift heavy, fatigue at 10 repetitions because that's equal to 80% of a 1 rep max. You don't have to really understand that, but we don't test anybody at a 1 rep max. That would be an injury waiting to happen. But lifting heavy is what it takes to give your bones enough to kind of push back, and that's what it's all about. Think of the weight is like a bully on the bone, and if somebody pushes you, you're going to tend to push back, and that's what happens in the bone. It responds by getting stronger when you apply the right kind of pressure. Weight training, even if you have osteoporosis, is safe, provided you build up to it. Today, however, the research has changed. So now we're going to use power. And we don't want to use the same heavy weight and use power, which is adding speed to the strength. We need to go a little bit lighter so that we can do it more safely. So I'm not going to lift this big one. If I had singles, I would go maybe 10 pounds lighter, but I'm going to use 2 weights in each hand because now it will save me a little time. I can get both done at once. But I'm going to show you how it is much more with speed and power. So it goes pull and then lets down very slowly. Pull and lets down very slowly with control. Pull and down. Up and down. And I happen to be in a standing position because I can tolerate that safely. If you need to, I'd rather have you sit if you're a beginner, just to do this safely. And that allows you to think about the muscles you're working without having to think about the rest of your levers. So this is an example of power, but we're not swinging the weight. We have full control. The last set I'm going to show you is for posture. So your postural muscles are those ones that kind of keep you from doing this. They keep you pulled back, chest open, shoulders drop down. And a lot of those postural muscles right back here between your shoulder blades get lazy, and that lets your shoulder blades slip apart. And that lots of times leads to these muscles up here overworking. So if you are a woman who holds her tension up here and may or may not tend to get headaches, it may be that these are lazy. So here's how you would do a bent over row for posture. Now this one, almost everyone should sit down. I don't have a bench right here, so you don't have to, but I would recommend sitting down because there's a lot more focal point going on between your ears on this exercise. So I'm going really light, ridiculously light, right? I would never do a row with 3 pounds and think that was going to be overload. I would never do a row like this with 3 pounds. But for posture, what I'm going to do is row here and then add to that a lift coming out and lower down and then unrow. Okay, so I'm going to row. I'm going to hold those muscles that did the row, zipped up, lower down, and then release. Now all the time it's really important that you're not sliding out here. You've got to be here, weight on your heels, and draw back. Lift, come out to the side, lower down, and release. And this is one at home. If you're trying it for the very first time for posture, you could probably get by with soup cans. And if you do 15 of them slow enough and controlled enough, like I am, you'll feel the work, I promise. So it's a 4 count. Row, extend from the shoulder, bring it back, and then unrow. And that's how you would use posture. One exercise done in different ways based on your goal. So you want to be thinking not just lifting weights is good for bone density or posture. Yes, but if you know what your goal is, you can get really specific and get much better results. You still got it, girl.